Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Phatkat Collections. Got another Dhgate special, and this is an Android wireless Android Auto Apple CarPlay screen. Now, I'll just first start off by saying that I'm really glad that this company wanted to collaborate through the Dhgate affiliate program. I'll put the link in the description where you can pick this up. Price on this is going to run you $72. I don't know if that's competitive with the rest of these devices out in the market. I reviewed many different kind of Android Auto kind of devices like this. There's many on the market, and they're made by a slew of different people. I'm just going to touch base on kind of what you get. This is actually, they state a 7-inch screen. I don't think this is a 7-inch screen, although I could be wrong. Let me just give it a quick measure. It technically is. So, I don't know, sometimes when I look at these screens, you know, I'm used to looking at like a tablet that's 7. It just seems to look larger to me. But it is a 7-inch screen diagonally, so maybe I'm just kind of desensitized with looking at some of the larger models over the years. This does come with 2 brackets. Now, I don't have the brackets here. I'm going to throw a picture up here. Maybe in the video we'll see. You know, again, I got to kind of decide on how much time I invest in doing a review like this. I'm going to power this and just turn it on. And I'll first start by saying I don't really understand kind of the idea behind these. It does have... all right, so first of all, I can't review Apple CarPlay, right? Because I don't have an Apple phone that I use for my day-to-day life, right? So I don't really use Apple products. I assume the Apple CarPlay is very similar to Android Auto. I've used Android Auto a little bit, but I don't use Android Auto all that much because generally all my vehicles are older, and with the exception of the Jag, that's the only one that I have to kind of stick to the factory deck. At least for now, they do make an aftermarket kind of whole retrofit system for it, but it's kind of expensive, and I don't really know if I want to rip the dash apart quite yet in order to install something like that and pay for it if I do get one sent to review. Of course, I probably will install it, but it's kind of an ordeal. So I've been looking for solutions to listen to music. Lately, I just been listening to music either through CDs, because it does have a CD player, or just through like a FM modulator. And so this does have an FM modulator built in. So I did kind of do a little bit of testing. The Android Auto, from the best that I can tell, basically syncs up your phone and then allows this. In my case, it syncs the phone to this device via Bluetooth and I think Wi-Fi, and then it's going to be broadcasting whatever the phone is doing from the FM modulator and then broadcasting that as an unused FM station, so the car antenna or the radio can pick up that FM signal. Now, it's not the best way of doing it. It's not going to give you it's going to give you enjoyable listening, right? But it's not going to give you like the best sound quality you could possibly get. Although I'm kind of I have amazing systems in all my vehicles, and I'll tell you, it's still enjoyable, right? It's not as perfect as I'd like it, but it's still very enjoyable, right? So, but here's my point with something like this. The Android Auto is kind of cool because, let me just first apply power to this here. And I'm not going to show you too much because I don't want to disclose kind of my my location here, right? So I would like to have a little bit of privacy. This is connecting right now, and just give me a second while this thing boots up here. It is going right into Android Auto. I just want to make sure we're not showcasing any kind of revealing information like my address. Let me just get out of this, and we'll just go into the app. So this is, I think, pretty safe. So this is what Android Auto does. It basically gives you a snippet or sort of a layout just like your phone does. It's almost like screen mirroring. So you have the apps that you normally would on your phone on this. And this is my phone right here. I'm using the new Boost Mobile 2024 5G Plus. Absolutely love this phone. Review to come. And that's also a 7-inch screen. So with something like this, you know, again, I have all my icons. I guess my whole reservations with using something like this is I just don't really see the point when I have a phone that is 7 inches. So why would I go through the hassle of, and in all honesty, these are not the easiest thing to install, right? So let me just unplug it here. We'll boot it back up in a second. So what do you get with this? So you do get 2 stands. Again, I have the stand in the garage. I'm just going to review it, cut right to the chase. You do get a suction cup stand that will actually allow you to stick on the windshield. My windshield is tinted, so that's not going to work. And then you get a secondary stand that actually has the ability to screw it into your dash. Nobody's going to do that, I hope. And then, of course, you have a big sticky pad. I'm not willing to put that on my dash. I don't know what that may do to the dashboard over time. So I'm kind of stuck to how I install this. I really don't want to put something like a big sticky pad anywhere in my car, right? So I kind of played with the idea, and this is something you might think about too, is using one of these kind of vent mounts. And if I kind of put this a little bit off center, this might be able to mount this in the car, kind of like this, and just kind of clip it on there. But I have to get some kind of like metal stick-on plate that's going to give me something magnetic to mount this. So I'm not saying I'm not going to try to use this, but at this point, again, going back to why would you use this when I could just get a mount for my phone and mount my phone and take it in, you know, take it as I go. If I want to go ahead and use the map system, the maps, I mean, I have a display that, in all honesty, is you know, it's a different proportion, but it's just as large as something like this. So I don't really understand, I guess, the idea in this. Now, it does have an SD, micro SD card, so you can go ahead and put, you know, your music on there, and that might be something I might use this for. I've been using like an FM modulator, again, with my phone, and what I find annoying while driving is I'm not really one to use my phone and be distracted while I drive, and so this has to be kind of mounted in such an area where I'm not looking down. It's extremely dangerous to change songs. So a lot of times I'm kind of feeling for like the advance button, you know, and that's kind of difficult to do on a phone. So far, like my most favorite way to listen to music is just having an FM modulator that plugs into a cigarette lighter with a micro SD slot, and there I can just have all my music and just advance by actually feeling the button. And some of them actually have nice buttons where you can just, you know, without even looking, you can advance or bring the song back. So now with this, because it does have the micro SD card, this might be kind of nice to free up the phone. So I'm not like, I don't know, data is not really a big deal nowadays. So I guess there are some dead spots where I go through and the music stops if I'm streaming. So this would be kind of nice to have these built in. But again, I can just kind of use my phone for the same thing. There is no built-in battery, so you have to power this. This does come with a cigarette adapter, which is rather huge. So in my situation, aesthetically, I'm concerned with the way things look. I don't want them to look out of place. I want them to look custom and built in like it came from the factory. So this, you're going to have this big cord hanging out here, this big cigarette lighter. Now you have all these wires. So then you might say, well, how do I conceal the wires? Well, you're going to have to get kind of creative. One thing I don't like with their cigarette adapter, they give you just a straight standard plug like this, USB-C, and that sticks out the side rather far. You can see here, you know, what are you going to kind of tape this and curl it? So it would have made more sense if they gave you like a sleek right angle power adapter, or put this on the back somewhere. You know, I just don't understand when companies do stupid stuff like this. Having this on the back would allow you to hide the cord and be a little more discreet. You know, for me, this is something I'm not going to, like, if I can't find a way to make that look clean, I won't even waste my time. I'll just use my phone with a, you know, a hidden FM modulator in the center console. So, but so far, upon testing it, it's responsive. It's not clunky. It did kind of do some funky stuff as far as rebooting when I first got it, but I connected it only to Bluetooth. I had to select, for some reason, when you press the Wi-Fi button, then it suddenly seemed to work. So I'm not sure if this communicates. I think this communicates via Bluetooth, but there's a pretty huge manual that comes with this. But again, I'm just not really too sure what the point of this is. I think if you're putting this in something like, you know, I just don't know. I just don't understand why you'd want to use this. So let me just read you what it says here. Just a 7-inch portable wireless Apple CarPlay screen, Android Auto, mirror link, Bluetooth, GPS, TAF card, auxiliary for all vehicles. It says here, it just talks about the resolution. It's IPS 1024 by 600. Car touchscreen, built-in high quality and loud speaker. I'm going to say that it has a speaker. I'm not sure why you would need it, right? Other than because this is connected to Bluetooth, you're using your car speakers, right? So that's kind of weird. It says supports real-time navigation. I will state though, compare this to some of the Android decks that I have in my vehicles. At least this, when it's the first boot up screen, I'm not going to show you because it'll show you my address, but it'll show you like the map just like your phone would, and it works pretty well. Like it's not glitchy and clunky. Whereas if I load, and I've had 3 or 4 Android car stereos now with quad core processors, when I go ahead and use maps on those, it's almost not even usable, and that's even with the phone with it connected to the Wi-Fi on my phone, broadcasting a hotspot. They just don't really work very well. So really, the only thing that I use any of the large screen, 10-inch screen, 12-inch screen decks for is just really for music. And in all honesty, you know, a lot of times when you go adding some of the aftermarket apps you can listen to, you know, play music with, it always tries to open up the main app, and this is every one that I've ever tested. So at some point I'm probably just going to kind of cut my losses with using a lot of those Android screens. I've never really had one that really is super impressive, but this totally different. We're not going to get into that today, but it does say, it says it supports real-time GPS navigation, movie player, and MP3. It has that wireless mirror link. Again, I don't know why you'd use that if you have a really large, maybe if you had a really small phone, this would be a much larger screen. It says supports video, audio formats, AVI, MPEG, MKV, MOV, MP4, MP3, basically all of them, multi-language support, and support for a backup camera. You know, that's really about it. So the best that I can see is it kind of duplicates what you have on your phone, maybe in sort of an operating system that you might find on like a factory radio. I guess I just don't see the point. I just don't really understand what the idea is in this. If you have a phone already, why would you need to have something like this? Now, I know that a lot of times when somebody's going to, like if you have a car, like I understand Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. If you have a car that came from the factory with a nice built-in big screen, it's all sleek, it's all, you know, the buttons are all very user-friendly, you get used to operating the volume and the advanced button, all these things that you normally get used to operating on a car. Like cars generally put buttons on there where they're, while you're driving, it's easier to kind of use the system, right? I understand having Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you get in the car, you have your phone, you put it in the center console in your pocket, it automatically connects, it syncs up, and then you have all your apps on your phone. So it's almost like taking your phone, having the ability to leave it wherever in the car, not picking it up, looking at it, having it fall over the place, and having suddenly your phone be built into the car's dashboard. I get that, but this, you're adding a second screen when you already have a screen. So maybe if one could build this in such a way that it looked great, but to me, again, going back to who would buy this, I mean, I guess if you have an older car like mine that don't have Android decks and you're just using the factory deck, and there are folks out there who have that, this might be something maybe it's beneficial to you. But again, I'm going back to phones are so large, I don't see the point in having both. Like if you're going to add this, why not just add a nice mount for your phone and use your phone, because your phone's going to be fully featured and do everything that this is going to do. So I think these are more of kind of like a little bit of a gimmick. I guess the idea is if you did mount this in your car, you wouldn't necessarily have to. You could just have your phone in your pocket, I guess, or in your purse, ladies, and just basically get in the car and have this auto connect and just basically start right up and you're ready to go. But I don't know. I think having something like this is just as easy as having a nice mount, taking your phone, popping it up there, and being able to use it. So I just don't really see the point in these. But overall, though, you know, like I said, it's a snappy system. I think it's just kind of redundant, you know. What else does it say here? Again, it just says our product can synchronize real-time apps with your mobile phone, Bluetooth enabled for hands-free calling and music playback, wireless CarPlay, mirror link. I mean, all these things are just kind of, I don't know. I don't like to be too distracted. And I think this might be for somebody, again, who they kind of show a picture here of the installation skills required to actually have an Android deck built into your car. So I think this is kind of for somebody who maybe has the ability, maybe your car doesn't have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay built in. It's an older car. Maybe it's just a newer car and you can't really rip the dash apart, right? Maybe it doesn't have that and it's kind of all built in where you're going to have to get involved in something very custom in order to have something installed like this. This allows you to kind of, with minimal skills, if you're not too concerned with the cosmetics, kind of install this in your car and have it work and have, again, sort of the features you would get from your phone. But I'm going to go back and repeat myself. Why bother if you have a rather large phone? If you're coming from a phone that's really small, like I consider iPhones pretty small, most of them, then maybe a 7-inch screen would would be beneficial. But I mean, 7 to me, this should, you know, why not do 8 or 9 if you're going to go through the hassle of, if you want a bigger screen, why just go for a little bit bigger? But again, this is my kind of 2 cents. I mean, there's a screen. I'm going to plug it in again so you can get an idea of, actually before I do that, looks like it has a spot for your TF card, your AV in, headphones, which is weird. You shouldn't be driving headphones anyway, and Type-C. So headphone out, maybe, I don't know, maybe why they would put that on there. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to let this boot up. The boot up on this is very fast, extremely fast. That's something that I really like about it. You have, let me just go home again. You have, trying to prevent this from jumping into my map here. You have your home button, a back button, volume, Wi-Fi indicator, and of course Bluetooth. These are both yellow, showing that they are connected to my phone. Screen mirroring, Android Auto, CarPlay, or FM transmitter. The FM transmitter is, again, allowing you to pick an unused station, and this will broadcast and you'll pick it up with your car's radio. Again, volume and brightness. Let me just go into Android Auto, and let me just go into all the apps. So again, you have, you know, a lot of your apps that are going to be on your phone. You can just scroll through and pick some of the apps. I'm just going to pick, let me just try just one of these here just to show you. We'll just do, let me go to YouTube Music. So I like that YouTube Music opens very snappy. And I like that if I have this mounted in such a way, and I'll come back and maybe re-review this if I do find a really nice way, a slick way of mounting it. But I can go back here and kind of look at my playlists, my library. I do like it's very responsive, albums. And this is Leonard Skinner. Here's all the albums that I love here that I saved on what do you call it? YouTube Music. You can search as well, and I'm not sure searching. Yeah, you have a full keyboard. So I definitely like that. It's pretty responsive. Let's see what else we got here. Go over to subscriptions, artist, playlist, last played, and then home. If I go over to, let me go to home again and go back to apps. We can go into, let me just see what something like, I'm trying to find a basic app here. Yeah, so not all the apps are on here that are on my phone. I'm not sure if just specific ones are available, but iHeartRadio, News, Messenger, Power Amp is available. Looks like the media player seemed to show up, and calling apps, WhatsApp, Smart Things, Playbooks. None of these I can really open up without kind of revealing some information here. But anyway, you guys know what apps look like. So, and you just hit exit. It'll take you back to the main screen. And then there's other things like phone, music, and settings, SD card. Let me just go over to phone and music. Sorry, this is kind of a basic video here, but so invalid, SD card invalid. So I don't know. It's again like the boot up really fast. Seems to work. Seems to do what it's supposed to do. But I guess I'm just not really sure on like who would necessarily use this. But anyway, I want to thank the company for sending it to me. $72. That does have free shipping. I'm trying to think here. Maybe like, I don't know. I just feel like even if you had a motorcycle, you can probably just get a really great motorcycle mount and use your phone. So let me just look at the pictures to see if there's anything I'm missing here. Like they show a really nice clean install, but they're not accounting for the wire. Yeah, that's my biggest gripe with it. Just the fact that they could have done like a raised connection back here and had the wire. If you need to make the wire still go in sideways, they could have had it on the back. There's nothing that's going to look dumber than this thing mounted somewhere on your car with a big wire hanging out of it. So they should have integrated that somewhere else. I'm not sure. Maybe had some, if they had to use this mount, have some like a thin kind of ribbon wire going around the back and having a back connection here. But these are the kind of things where, for me personally, if you're a guy who customizes your cars and you like to make them clean and look good, then these are kind of deal breakers for me to want to install this in my car. Now I might be able to, I know they do make right angle USB-C connections, but they still come out a little bit. So no matter what you do, it's not going to look like it came from the factory, but there might be something, again, I can do to make it look a little neater. But if you're not concerned with that, this is a great, snappy, fast working device. And again, a lot of that's going to depend on the processing power of your phone as well, because it is using Android Auto through your phone. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your 2 cents on these if you have some experience using these more than I do. I'd love to. I'm all ears. Anyway, I want to thank the company for sending it, and stay tuned for more, folks. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and have a good day.